Good evening, everyone. My name is Manuel Deer, and I'll be doing the presentation for Project Master, which is a web-based project management system that I created for principles of software engineering. Just wanted to preface really quickly that this was intended to be an academic prototype, and so there's certain limitations and restrictions that were imposed based on those requirements. It's not intended for production, so there's many things that are missing and things that I would change if it was to be ready for production. With that being said, I will now cover the system features for Project Master. So really quickly, we have user authentication system, a project management system, milestone and task management system, a dashboard metric system, and a calendar visualization system. So for the user authentication system, essentially, unauthenticated users are able to register or log into an account. Once they successfully log in, their session is managed by Flask Login, in which case they now have access to protected routes. Any person who tries to access protected routes who's not logged in, or rather not authenticated, will be redirected back to the login screen. Essentially, for this to work, I depended on Flask Login, which handles user sessions, WorkZug, which salts and hashes the password before it gets saved into the database, and the SQLite user table, which stores information that has to be queried against the user. Project management system. So really quickly, a project can be considered a container that organizes work for a project. Specifically for Project Master, the two units of work are milestones and tasks, where milestones represent large objectives and tasks make up a milestone. So you can say if all the tasks associated with the milestone are complete, then that milestone must be complete. Additionally, a task can also be not associated with the milestone, in which case it can almost be viewed as a to-do list. And this is just for people who simply don't want to create a milestone, they just want to create a project and treat it as like a to-do list for something semi-simple. Milestone and task management. So all these interfaces require you to be authenticated, and they allow you to create, read, update, or delete any of these units. So you can create, read, update or delete a project, a milestone, and a task management system, and there's certain fields that have to be filled out, such as the name, the status, the dates, etc. So the dashboard metric system is essentially once a user logs in and is authenticated, they get redirected to the dashboard metric system, and it just stores metrics that are useful, specifically upcoming deliverables within the next week, overdue items, which are defined as like any deliverable that's past its due date, an active project count, and completion percentage for all active projects. Lastly, a calendar visualization system was implemented using full calendar, and this basically is a JavaScript library that shows a calendar view, and I had it color-coded with project information like tasks and milestones. Each task and milestone is color-coded by project ID, and so they must be unique. And there are overlays, so milestones are kind of highlighted cells and tasks are color-coded dots or circles. So this is the model for the database. These are the relationships between the different tables. So it really should be 0 to many across the board. A user can have 0 to many projects. A project can have 0 to many milestones or tasks, and a milestone may have 0 to many tasks. Let's scroll up here. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the tech stack. So let's actually go here. I used full calendar for the calendar view, Flask Login to handle sessions, Flash WTF for form validation, WorkZug to handle passwords and hashing. We used HTML, CSS, JavaScript for the front end, as well as Jinja 2, SQLite, and Flask SQL Alchemy for the database and database connection. And then for the routing, I used Flask. So you can kind of see how each component, each layer interacts with each other. So user uses the browser layer to, request or fill out data. That data gets, or those pages get rendered by Jinja 2 and styled by HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The backend is handled by Flask, which handles those get and post request routes. The models, so for the models, there's the user, the project, the milestone, and the tasks, and those models are used to be saved in the database. So authenticated users are only unauthenticated users are only allowed to register for an account or log in, while authenticated users have access to all these interfaces. So let's continue, and then I used a model view controller architecture. So we have the view, the controller, which is Flask, and the model, which is handled by SQLite and Flask SQL Alchemy. All right, for testing, essentially, I'm going to be really quick on this. There was 25 tests implemented with PyTest. They were automated, and all the tests passed. So the tests passed, but we did see certain requirements failing. That sounds kind of weird, but basically, those tests passed, yet the requirements were kind of broken, like the testing criteria was broken. So specifically, we found that a user could actually attempt to create or register an account with an email that was already created, in which case there was an integrity error that crashed the program. And then for the task management section, other users could hijack different users' task data and edit them, even though they weren't the ones who owned that data. The calendar and the input to validation were not implemented at this time, so there was no testing, but every other section passed. So now I will begin to load Project Master. So we can see that the routes are protected. I can't access the project and the calendar route. I have to register. All right, registered. So this is the dashboard. The dashboard doesn't have any metrics yet because this is a new account. We can create a project. We'll just set this to today. We'll set this active and we'll create the project. This is the project page where you can view all the projects. This is the project detail page. So you see the project card, its information, and the milestones and independent tasks. So I'll just add some dates, set this to be active, and then we can create a new task. We can see that the tasks stack and pile up for each milestone card, and we can create an independent task. And the independent tasks act as kind of like a to-do list for people who don't need to create milestones. So we can delete these, but I'm going to keep them for now because I want to travel to the calendar view. We can see that the milestones are highlighted, as I said, and the tasks are color-coded dots. Let's travel back to the home page. We see that we have one active project, we have no overdue items, and we have all these upcoming deliverables, and progress in Project Manager or Project Master is handled by tasks. So this essentially concludes my project. Thank you so much.